So two psychologists were studying, they're basically trying to answer the question, how come incompetent people are not aware they're incompetent and they're ultra confident? And how come confident people are much less confident than the incompetent people? So here we go, whiteboard. So Dunning-Kruger effect. Here we have confidence, how confident we are about something. And here we have competence. So we would assume that logically, the more competent we are, the more confident we become, right?
Mm.
It would sort of make sense. If we're at a 5 of competence, it would make sense that we're roughly at a 5 of confidence because we understand. However, what they observe is that people usually follow something like this. So they start out, they go from being a 0 to being like a 1 or a 2, and they are ultra confident because they think, wow, look, everything I knew compared to before, it's massive. You know, right now, I know pretty much everything there is to know. You see this with people who start grad school. Then grad school for 3 weeks, they followed a few lectures and they go, I'm going to explain the world to you. It's like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe 3 weeks. I mean, compared to what you knew before, absolutely, you've learned a lot of things, but there's a lot more to learn and you've got no idea what it is. So what happens is a healthy person then realizes that actually they don't know as much as they thought. So their confidence really, drops. It's like, well, I might be at let's say a 3, but my confidence is at a 1 because now I'm beginning to realize I know much less than I thought I did. And now I have to work extra hard to try to rebuild my skill set to be able to increase the competence. And of course, going from a 0 to a 1 of competence is significantly easier than going from a 5 to, oops, my camera is something weird, going from let's say a 5 to a 10. So when we're actually competent, we realize it, then we put in the work, we put in the effort. But this is where it becomes really tricky because people assume that there's a correlation between competence and confidence. The shortcut they use is just look at confidence. How confident is this person? If this person is at let's say 9 out of 10, they must be at a 9 out of 10 in terms of competence. So with most people, it sort of works because they don't dwell too much on this point. But the bizarre thing with narcissists is they realize, provided I act super confident, I never need to become competent because I just get angry when people challenge me. That's all I have to do. And this is where, I think I showed a diagram about making decisions. We got data, there's an algorithm, we see the result, we compare to reality, and then we fine tune. Most of us would just go, what I'm doing doesn't work anymore, so I need to change. But the narcissist has so much hubris, they refuse to change. They go, the problem is with the world. And I think that's what was happening at the end of World War II with Hitler, where he was making mistake upon mistake. He wasn't understanding what was going on. He was throwing anger at other people. But, when you've been attacking the Soviet Union in winter because of like really poor strategies and your very nice Hugo Boss outfits, they look cool, but your feet are frozen. And the soldiers actually had the toes getting frozen off because it was too cold, minus.
Yeah, their ears were falling off. They had to the soldiers,
Yeah.
the German soldiers were taping their ears on.
Exactly. Because it was too cold. When that's happening, well, you can shout at the people, but what else are they supposed to do? Like they're freezing to death.
Yeah.
So instead of thinking, okay, I made a mistake, pause, rewind, let's do things differently. Well, he just continued, and that's how it ended. But it seems that's the way it works with narcissists. Is they're so focused on the competence, they don't understand that. The confidence. As long as it's working, it's fine. And that's where there's a lot of politicians. They talk a lot, but what do they actually do? And if they're not actually competent, it gets, worrisome. So Hitler was one example, but we've got a lot of, a lot of politicians recently are saying, we didn't anticipate what is happening. And you think, you didn't anticipate the scenario that was so obvious that lay people knew about it, and you never considered it might be a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so common. That's why history is so fascinating. We learn so much from these mistakes.